There's something about human nature. We're drawn to gore and scare, and you know, so when we can see it on the screen, it's really inviting, just as long as it doesn't happen in real life.
I think everyone needs to scream every once in a while, and you're forced to here.
I read the script after a really long day. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, I got halfway through the script and threw it across the room because I was so scared.
We wanted to do a genre picture for a while because they can be very successful. And we had read a number of them, and this was finally we found a screenplay that we thought was really great. The project came with Mike Mendez attached, who had done a picture called The Convent, which we were interested in, but what really attracted us to Mike was that he was able to shoot a trailer for the movie in 3 days, which when he showed it to us, we thought was great.
We actually shot entire scenes that were kind of like the groundwork for the trailer, and then we shot other moments that were just kind of, you know, action stuff and more supernatural stuff, and then I ripped off a bunch of other stuff from other movies to really fill in the big, you know, big explosions and the big money shots that, well, that we still can't afford to do, but they were there. So.
And based on that trailer, we thought that he'd do an incredible job shooting the movie, so we went ahead with him at that point.
It was a really beneficial tool that worked in some ways far better than we ever expected it to, because we were looking at it to just get financed and just get approved, you know, to actually just make the film. And it did that ultimately, but what it also did is we were able to gather really a tremendous amount of talent from everything from visual effects and special makeup effects to the cast.
My first reaction reading the script was one of interest straight away. I mean, I really enjoyed the read. It was great. And I met with Bart now, and they showed me a cut reel that Mike Mendez had directed, a mini short film of the film, and I was really impressed by that. And I'd heard of Mike through, you know, people had told me that he has a cult following. And I'm really interested in working with directors that are kind of cutting edge and kind of quirky.
First of all, I was in Japan, in Yubari, and I met Mike Mendez while I was a jury in the Fantastic Film Festival, and I saw The Convent. And I really fought for that movie because I always enjoy those movies when there is the fun, you know, when there is the wit. It's witty, it's sparkling, it's light, you know, it's not like heavy and grave. And I really enjoyed looking at The Convent because at the same time I got the rush of the being scared, you know, but also I was humored. The spirit of it was so cheerful, you know, witty. And for me, what is special is the friendship I developed with Mike Mendez throughout the years, you know. So this builds up feelings, you know, that I'm ready to stand for the guy, you know. I like him a lot. I like, as I told you, his spirit, his imagination, there is something genuine about him.
Mike is like the coolest geek in town.
I get a lot of scripts, and this one just really stuck out as something I thought I'd really like to do. But, you know, again, you always need to meet the director and find out. And I met Mike probably about 3 weeks later, and we talked for an hour and a half. Came in for the interview, and we just talked and talked and talked and had a really great time. I felt really good about what he was saying and what he wanted to do, and we just had a good click.
Well, the biggest problem you have on an independent movie at a lower budget is that you have less time to shoot it. The crews are basically the same. You have to do what normally would take 45 or 60 days in under 30 days.
I mean, this film really, it seems to be suited to a bigger budget because we're packing so much in. But I think that's where you know, the talent of Armstrong, Dave, comes into play. You know, he makes films, low budget films look big.
It's been really wonderful to have such an incredible team helping me do this, because when you're doing this and you're doing it for the type of budget that we're doing it in, you need all the help you can get.
On Gravedancers, there's a lot of special effects that'll be done in post. There's a lot of puppeteering, there's a lot of animatronics, there's a lot of green screen. There's just about a little bit of every kind of special effects you can think of on this film. Motion control, we'll have DI, digital intermediate. We have a little bit of everything.
While making this movie, while making The Gravedancers, you know, you have to deal with a lot of night shoots, and at the same time you're dealing with cold and you're dealing with getting beat up.
One of my favorite nights I've had so far in Gravedancers was hanging out a 3-story window on a rope, dangling in about 20-degree weather in a t-shirt. It was great, but you know what? It was really exciting, and had they not had the faith in me to let me take the scene that far, instead of cutting away, I don't think you would have gotten the same emotion.
Let's see, I get to throw Dominic Purcell, who's like a He-Man. He's huge. I throw him off a few times, and I throw Frenchie Tcheky off, and I punch out Claire, Allison's role, like kill a few people, and just some wire hanging. It's been pretty intensive.
The physicality stuff for me is kind of, I don't know, second nature really, because I played rugby league back in Australia, and I was, playing football all my life, so jumping around, getting hurt is kind of part of the deal.
We buried Harris, and I had to dig him out of a pile of dirt. I had a lot of trouble finding his hand when I was digging, and I got actually really worried because he was holding his breath under there waiting for me to pull him out.
Where the fuck is he?
Being buried alive for a millisecond wasn't too comforting. It was kind of scary. Claustrophobic, plus all the dirt in my ears, and no thanks. That was a day I'd rather forget.
Well, some of the rigors are that in horror movies generally take place in the dark, so it has to be dark, which means that you have to shoot at night.
Most of this has been night shoots, so it's kind of hard on the biological clock, I think.
I think some of the biggest challenges I've had to meet on Gravedancers would have to be Mike's vision. I mean, he's got this huge vision, and budget-wise, we're not set for it completely. So I'm having to reinvent how to do big budget stuff on a medium to low budget film. We have an A unit and a second unit running, but sometimes I'll split it into 3 units. My gaffer, who's also a director of photography, Yaron Levy, I'll have him shooting, as we are like tonight. He's shooting 1 unit, I'm shooting another unit, and another second unit is being shot by my second unit DP, Andy Steinman. So I've had to get inventive and just start breaking up crews and thinning out the camera department and spreading out the lighting crew. And we're doing it. I have a great crew who's being extremely supportive. I think getting the vision is the tough thing, but that's also what's exciting and fun. I mean, that's what I love to do.
The most challenging problem we had during production was being able to figure out how to shoot the fire sequences, because there was a lot of fire in this film, and being able to shoot the fire sequences without the use of a sound stage and having to do it actually on location was very difficult. So the way we solved that problem, we were able to get in contact with the local fire department, and the way they destroy houses here in North Carolina when they're ready for demolition is they don't demolish them, they burn them to the ground. So we were able to find houses that were scheduled to be burned by the fire department, and we were able to get one of those houses, and we're actually burning one of those houses down in the film. The part of the screenplay that has exceeded my expectations and what my imagination envisioned while reading the screenplay are the creature effects that were put together by Spectral Motion. And they've really created some amazing characters for the film.
Our special makeup effects people, Spectral Motion, were coming off Fantastic Four and Hellboy, and did this movie, which is just really amazing of them, because this is probably the craft service budget of Fantastic Four. A film like this has a lot of special requirements it needs. One of the things that's most important is you need a cast you can believe in. You need actors that are seasoned and really can make a very unbelievable and fantastic situation seem very real and relatable, and I think that's a real important thing, and one of the things I'm striving to do in this.
Tcheky Karyo plays the character of Vincent. We were very excited to have Tcheky because he is such a fine character actor and has been in movies like The Patriot, working with Mel Gibson. And we thought getting somebody like him in a movie like this would, in a horror film, would raise the bar on the acting and the overall level of the talent in the movie, and I think it has.
Tcheky, the Frenchman. He's a great guy, his character. Funny as hell. Partied a bit with him. He knows how to drink, that guy. But yeah, I mean, great actor, you know, another actor that's done some big films, and you know, for him to come on board was wonderful. You know, yeah, he's great actor and great guy.
Everything that comes out of his mouth, when you look at him, you believe it. There's never a question that he's not being Vincent 100%. And it's so amazing to me to work with an actor of his stature. You know, I'm so impressed with him that I just want to spend every second, you know, in that scene, being involved with him and his character. It's just, he's amazing.
Well, you know, me as an actor, a movie can cost 3 cents or 300 billion. It's the same for me. You know, I remember this producer saying, looking through the camera, and there is those two people, they are talking to each other and they touch it, you know, it's like psychological. And then he does that and there is 100 tracks, you know. And you can also listen and see here we have 2.5 tracks. It's a different type of production, investment. I mean, I like the idea of taking the challenge with the producers also, you know, and the director.
Reading the script, I could see the movie in my head, and it is certainly matching up to what I visioned. You know, it's more than exceeding my hopes. It's good.
I have been so utterly impressed with the locations here, with the visuals, with the other actors, with, you know, the whole crew.
It's scary, it's humorous.
I want to make genre films, but I want to make smart genre films. I believe in blending genres. I don't want to make just horror movies or just action movies. I want to make action horror movies or horror comedies or action comedies.
It's like going to a roller coaster, you know. It's like you take a train in a big Luna Park and you go through a tunnel and there is a phantom coming out at you. It's exciting for them, you know, and it's better to be excited that way than to go take crack or drugs or, you know.
It's exciting to move physically, and that's kind of what you do. You're just jumping out of your seat.
So I hope there's a relatability and just a feeling of like walking out of the theater and watch your back.
My advice to people visiting cemeteries is not to get drunk.
Respect the dead.
Do not dance on graves. Whatever you do, if you go to a cemetery, just walk through, take a good look, and walk out.
That would be my advice.